President's physician says Trump aced the cognitive exam. Yes, I know I got it wrong, but I'm just going to stick with it. The physician to the president, Navy Rear Admiral Ronny Jackson, said during Tuesday's White House press briefing that President Donald Trump's request and then aced a cognitive ability exam. Reporters have suggested for months that Trump is mentally unstable, and NBC's Haley Jackson was quick to ask about the president's mental health during the briefing. Trump was not initially supposed to receive a cognitive exam, I know I'm mispronouncing, get over it, during his first presidential trip to the doctor, but Dr. Jackson said that Trump specifically requested the exam himself. I had absolutely no concerns about his cognitive ability or his, neurological function, Jackson asserted. I was not going to do the cognitive exam. I had no intention of doing one. The reason we did the cognitive assessment is plain and simple because the president asked me to do it. Jackson then explained the president did exceedingly well on the exam and has no reason to question his mental ability. The president then did exceedingly well on it, Jackson asserted reporters. That was not driven at all by any concerns I had. It was driven by the president's wishes and he did well on it. So at the end of the day, guys, obviously just recapping this, basically for the past couple of months, they've been going on about Trump being mentally ill. I presume he wanted to go through and get this exam done because he wanted to sort of silence them, get that sort of narrative over and done with. And he went through and did this. Now, he got 30 out of 30 for his cognitive abilities. Pretty much everything else was really good, considering he was 71, except he needs to lose a little weight. He's a little podgy. He's the podgy in chief. But at the end of the day, yeah, they're going to put him on a little bit of a diet, get him to do some exercise, maybe cut down on some of the KFC. But, all jokes aside, like I say, look, he's 71 years old and he's doing extremely well. He sleeps for about 4 or 5 hours a day, apparently, that's all. So, he probably could use a little more sleep, but no, he says there's no sign of stress or anything like that. He's handling it extremely well, and he had no questions about his mental capacity whatsoever. Now, guys, obviously, I will play the video that goes through and obviously plays it for you. So, all the conspiracy theories, you can go through and replay this video as many times as you want and try and read between the lines. Left wing have become the new conspiracy theorists, but anyway.
Questions for you. Number one, there have been some questions as part of your exam. I'm wondering if you talked to the president about this, about the president's mental fitness. He has pushed back on that, calling himself a stable genius. Can you assess the president's mental fitness for office?
Absolutely. So many of you may have picked up on the fact that we did do a cognitive assessment as part of the exam. And initially, I had no intention of including a cognitive assessment in this exam because, to be honest with you, per all the guidelines that are out there, it's not indicated at this time. A lot of the guidelines would suggest that you do cognitive screening questions, and that if you have a positive or concerning answer on the screening questions, that then you engage with a cognitive screening tool. So I had no intentions whatsoever of doing that, like I said, because I didn't feel it was clinically indicated. And part of the reason I didn't think it was clinically indicated is because I've spent almost every day in the president's presence since January 20, 2000, or last year, when he got into office. And I've seen him every day. I see him 1, 2, sometimes 3 times a day because of the location of my office. We have conversations about many things. Most don't revolve around medical issues at all. But I've got to know him pretty well. And I had absolutely no concerns about his cognitive ability or his neurological function. So I was not going to do a cognitive exam. I had no intention of doing one. The reason that we did the cognitive assessment is plain and simple because the president asked me to do it. He came to me and he said, is there something we can do, a test or some type of screen that we can do to assess my, my cognitive ability? And so I looked into it. And once again, and my initial question was that I didn't think it was indicated and I didn't think we should do it. After looking at some of the guidelines, there are a few guidelines out there that lean in the direction of potentially doing it. You know, the Medicare guidelines and some of the NIH, National Institute of Aging, they've indicated that it might be a good thing to start doing for most patients in the future. With that in mind, I went through and I looked at a variety of the cognitive assessments that were available. Most of them were very simple, very short, and I think that's the goal actually for primary care providers in doing this, is to keep it simple, keep it short. We picked one of the ones that was a little bit more involved. It was longer. It was the more difficult one of all of them. It took significantly longer to complete, but the president did exceedingly well on it. So that was not driven at all by any clinical concerns I have. It was driven by the president's wishes, and he did well on it.
So to follow up, the president's personal
I have tweeted out asking if he wants to give CNN a cognitive ability exam. That might actually be needed. But yeah, I think they actually need it more than the president. But at the end of the day, I got to give full credit to mainstream media. Majority of them are actually reporting on this factually. Like, even CNN has actually ran along saying that there's absolutely nothing wrong with Trump's mental health. I had to read the actual article 4 times to make sure it wasn't a spoof website or something. But no, they're actually reporting on it factually. So, I don't know. Maybe they're going back to journalism? I don't know. Now, obviously, apart from all this, guys, the best thing that's come out of it is the memes. The memes are beautiful. So guys, apart from all that, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What's your best part out of all the information we got out of this? Most interesting thing I thought was the fact that he's a little bit overweight, he needs to do some exercise, and apparently he has anti-hair loss treatment or drug that he takes. They mentioned that in the video. I thought that was interesting, but yeah, apparently he also takes a multivitamin a day. So, yeah, might explain why he's a good, healthy 71-year-old. But guys, apart from that, if this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.